Hey there. Well, as you can see, we've got Möbius right side up for a change, and you saw some of that video, I assume, of the flipping day, which is actually now a little over a week ago. Last week was a big week-long holiday here, so everything was shut down, and we're back here again. I thought I'd give you a tour before they get started to put the superstructure on, and you can get a bit of a view of the layout of the boat now that she's right way up. So come on, let's go take a look. Well, let's start down here on the floor and underwater, of course, when the boat's normally in here. And this is the prop tunnel, which you can see much more clearly now. You can see how this arch goes up over here. The prop itself and the rudder tube, the prop tube rather, comes out of here. These things, as we've mentioned in the blog, are going to cut out, be cut out to put the tube in here. Aluminum tube goes in here and gets welded all up, and then the prop tube itself slides inside of there and gets set inside in epoxy, and the prop will sit somewhere right about here. This all gets clad in aluminum plate about 15 millimeters thick, and forms a keel here and makes a nice foil shape for the water to keep flowing over the prop very nicely. And then this, by raising the prop up inside of here a little bit, we gain quite a bit of draft, actually reduce the draft, so we can get into shallower water. So the prop's just a shade over 1 meter in diameter, so a nice big four-bladed CPP, controllable pitch prop, and we'll talk to you more about that later. We'll give you a peek up inside here, and you can get an idea for the engine room, but we'll go take a tour on that here in a minute. But let's walk around down below here, just so you can get a sense of the boat now that she's right way up, and see how she looks, and get a bit of a sense of the shape of the bottom of the hull underneath the water here. The bar that you see over here, this is a stiffening bar for them to do the final welding of the plates that go up against that. And now she's just braced, as you can see, with these props on the side, as well as the wood and the tables underneath of here. And the welding's all done up above here. Above the water line, we'll grind the welds down so that they're flush. Below the water line, we'll just leave them alone and finish things off that way. And as we make our way up to the bow, you can start to see again the transition of the shape. You can see how it gets nice and fine up here. Here's our anchor set up, which is where the anchor will come in, and those two cheeks that you see up along here is where the cheeks of the anchor itself will get pulled in tight against, so it doesn't move or make any noise when we're underway if it happens to take a wave up that high. Water line will be about where this weld is here that you can see, so approximately for you to get an idea of under the water and above the water. We'll give you an idea of what's going on, and the famous nose cone up there for our snubber lines, and if we ever needed a tow or anything like that, we could attach those up there. We'll take and show you what a view looks like from the upside of that as well. And now you can just look down the hull here and again get a bit of a sense of the shape for the boat from there. All right, let's go take a look up on top. All right, let's go climb aboard. We've got this ladder in place here for now. When the boat's built, we'll have a retractable fold-down ladder that will be able to get us in and out of the water nice and easily. But for now, this is what we're using to get up here. And we can just show you the swim step. Pretty good size, a little over a meter, I think a meter to 1.2 meters in depth. So nice, good size for easy, safe standing. You could be diving off of here, getting in and out of the tender quite easily. We've got this hazmat locker here for any things like jerry jugs full of diesel fuel and oil and paint and thinners and that kind of stuff. So this is all completely sealed off, no access to the inside. There'll be a waterproof door that goes all the way around here. It keeps everything nice and tight. And then this will be the doorway into the engine room and the workshop. There will be a plinth or a big header over top of here. It'll get welded over in the next week or so, and we can show you that so you won't have to duck down to go inside. There's a good sized step here on purpose to just keep everything nice and dry. So you step over that, and then inside of here is the rudder shelf. So that hole you see there is where the rudder post will come up through. There'll be a big aluminum tube comes up in there, and then the rudder and the steering gear sits on top of this. And there'll be another step that we'll put in here for you to stay off of the steering gear and get down inside. Again, you can see the tunnel being formed there, the prop tunnel, and up ahead you can see these two big long rails here. Those are 25 millimeter thick, 1 inch or so, and that's the engine and transmission bed, so that's what that sits on. And just before we go down into that engine room, we'll show you the aft deck here a little bit. I'll come and maybe end the tour up on this level, but you can see from the back swim step here, looking forward, that slight little wall you see up ahead there is the beginning of the super salon galley and so on, and we'll show you that in a moment as well. But let's go take a look inside the workshop and the engine room. It's a combination of both. The engine room will be inside of here in an enclosure, so it comes from about this vertical stiffener here over to about this one here, and then the walls come straight back on either side with a good amount of space on those engine beds. So there'll be lots of access to the engine on either side of it, but we decided to make an enclosure instead of just walling off the whole aft section here for the engine room, keep the heat just in that enclosure, and pretty much have just the engine in there, and the transmission, of course. Actually, it's not technically a transmission, it's the CPP servo, but kind of the same thing. And that will be all nice and easy, better for fireproofing it, better for keeping the heat inside, and just maintaining the engine, and then keep everything else outside, batteries, pumps, all that kind of stuff. So this whole area over along the side here, about down at the water line, probably not quite a meter, but a good amount of space. So that will all be open and clear. There'll be a workbench down here. The day tank is going to go sit up against that bulkhead, and then a workbench for some of the equipment and for working on here, and then another workbench all along this side. This is the walkway that you'll go up to that door, which takes you into the inside of the boat itself. And then you can see here the inside view of that hazmat locker that we looked at a little bit earlier up off of the swim step, so that keeps everything looked after there. And we'll just walk forward here a little bit and show you around. So again, you can just get a good sense of the robustness of the mounts here for the engine and the transmission. Like I say, they sit on those big long plates that are running along here. Lots of room for the engine. About the only bilge we have in the entire boat is this little piece you can see up here, and a small amount in here. Everything else, as you'll see when we start going forward, is at the fuel tank top level. So there really is, in one sense, not really much of a bilge on the boat at all, which is good. What we do have is these things here that are called margin plates. And so if you see this, so this what you're looking at here inside, this is all a water tank that goes along both sides of the engine. And then to make them nice and strong, and where they come up against the hull, they have to have this angle to them so that they intersect the hull plates at 90 degrees and keeps lots of strength in there. But what I'm pointing it out to you for is that this forms a nice little gutter in here, probably mostly for dirt as opposed to any liquids and so on. It should be staying pretty dry, but it'll make it easy for cleaning it up, and just run a vacuum down those margin plates or those little gutters there. Should make it nice and easy to clean the boat up. So that's a nice little touch that has been designed into the hull here. It goes all the way through the rest of it as well. If we look up forward here, this is Christine's office and the guest cabin. You can see those same margin plates and that little gutter in there. And again, all this case now returns to fuel in here. So all of that you see in there is fuel tank. All of those baffles are in there to make sure that the free effect of the liquid doesn't go sloshing around and cause any problems that way. So you can see it makes for a very, very sturdy hull. And this is part of that double layer insulation, because everything below the waterline on the boat is pretty much all tankage. So even in a very catastrophic situation of getting a holding of the hull, all you would really penetrate is a tank. Wouldn't be good, but you wouldn't get any water into the boat. So from a safety standpoint, that's been a nice feature. And then you get a sense of the construction here. You can see how strong the boat is. Up on top here is the deck, ceiling inside of here. And then, as I was saying, this room that you're looking in right now is going to be Christine's office and the guest cabin. It'll be configured as her office most of the time. We'll show you some floor plans and some layouts and stuff. But her desk sits over here. A nice Pullman double bed, a queen-size bed comes out here. Another one up on top for a single adult or for younger kids and stuff. This area that's open right now will get closed in with cabinetry and whatnot, and what you're seeing up on top there is the floor of the what we're calling the super salon, combination of the galley, a lounge, a dining room area, and the main front helm. And then this opening that you can see right in front of us here is what are going to be stairs that come down from the guest cabin, or from the super salon rather, into Christine's office here. And then this is the area next up here that we're calling the basement, because it's about 1.2 meters in height, and we've picked that height to both lower the house down as far as we possibly can, but it gives us a huge amount of space down here, as you can start to see, for mostly storage, but also a lot of systems are going to go down here. Pumps, inverters, chargers. These two big openings, or actually three, you can see here. You see them? 1, 2, 3. That's all filled up with lead batteries. So we've got a very, very huge 54 kilovolt or a kilowatt battery bank, house bank, made up of a whole set of 2-volt cells that fill up all of those spaces, and then that all gets closed in. All of these areas that you're seeing here will ultimately be closed in with tank tops, aluminum plate that gets welded on with inspection ports in not every single opening, but most of them, so we could get access to them to clean them out if we ever needed to. And then this, before I go forward any further, is these are coffer dams, they're called. So this is where the stabilizers, we're not going to install them to begin with, but you can see the framing is mostly installed in there if somebody did want to put in active stabilizer fins. Or we think if we were to go with them, we'd probably use these new Magnus effect ones that are much, much smarter setup, but we'll talk to you about them some other time. This is just, however, an area that will have plate over top of it, so it's completely sealed in and watertight, and that'll just be air inside of there, whereas all of the rest that you're seeing in here is fuel. And then you can see the same stabilizer coffer dam over on the other side. And way up at the front there, you can see the opening that'll be all closed in, so this entire area will be watertight inside of here, and that is where the staircase comes down and goes into what'll be the master cabin, our main cabin. And then if I pop up here, we're back up to showing you the inside of the super salon, where the galley and everything else will be, and we can go up there next and show you around. Okay, so I'm standing in the what will be the super salon, and we're looking aft, as you can probably tell by now. So this is the very nice large aft deck area. This big opening here will have a large door or a hatch in it. That is for accessing the engine and being able to take out the entire engine and control a pitch propeller system all at once with a crane or a lift, whatever coming out of there. You can see where we showed you before in the back there, that opening that you see there is where the plinth or the bump up is going to be for you to walk in and out of the aft engine room. And then you're seeing now the other side of this little sort of half wall here, which is where the galley and the super salon all begin. And that'll continue around. You can start to see now what's being framed up here already. In the coming weeks, you'll see that this gets completed with the rest of the superstructure that creates the whole set of walls and roof for this galley super salon area. So this will all be glass. And I'm like I say, I've got the camera held right now pretty much at my eye height. So this is what you're going to see when you're looking out. 360 degrees of glass, so you'll be able to see the views all around you. Whether you're sitting or standing, it doesn't make any difference. You'll still have an unobstructed view 360 degrees around you. So the glass at the back here will come down to the top of this wall, whereas over here it comes not quite down to the deck plates, about maybe 100 millimeters, 150 millimeters, 6 inches or so above that, but pretty much all the way down. So full height of glass that's there, very thick glass. It'll end up probably being a little over an inch thick altogether, a couple of different layers of it, tempered glass that's put together. We have to be able to sustain a capsize, and so the glass has to be as strong as or stronger than the aluminum would be in terms of impact resistance and stability. So it's got to be very thick, but it'll be very, very nice to have 360 degrees of windows all the way around us. And if you're helping with the orientation here, when we were down below, we were standing kind of in that place there. This is where the staircase goes. All of our staircases have a slight wind to them, so this will wind a little bit as you go down in there. And then this is this will be a hallway along in here that gives you access back to the engine room and the workshop. Be a small workbench for me to do like clean room sort of work. And then the remainder of the room over here that you've kind of seen already will be Christine's office and or the guest room. And then once we pop up on top here, again, as I said, this will be all built in with a little bit of aluminum framing, but largely cabinetry and so on. This corner that you're seeing over in here is going to be the galley. The galley stretches up to about this frame member right here. So you can see it's a pretty good sized galley. It'll be a set of cabinetry and countertops that are here, running all the way along over to the window, cabinets running all the way back, cabinets running off to the side, and then a kind of a peninsula island sort of thing running forward here as well. You want to have a galley on a boat that's quite closed in, so that if you're cooking and working in there and the boat's moving around a lot, you don't have a lot of distance. You can get your hip braced up against it, but lots and lots of cabinetry and space for it. Over on this side, there will be a cabinet from the sort of the deck height down for an area there just for more storage. This area along the side here will have two nice lounge chairs in it, so that'll be our kind of lounge living room sort of area. This hatch here is for the access to the basement. As you might recall, I was saying the basement gets completely waterproofed and sealed off. Otherwise, the staircases here, that all gets framed up with aluminum plate. And so that staircase and this one here going down into the forward main cabin is all completely welded up with plate for the stairs, and that makes the whole entire basement to be a watertight area, and then that makes this the only way we can access the basement area. As I say, it'll be systems and then a lot of storage, probably mostly plastic crates, but having a nice good sized door that'll pop up here makes it easy for us to get in and out and move larger things in and out of there. This area up here that you can see with these two I-beams framed out of here, this will be the main helm area, so we'll probably have two helm chairs here, one there, one there. What we're thinking of doing is making the helm chairs movable so that we can click them out of their bases here and move them over. So we might try doubling up with these helm chairs, get some really, really nice comfy ones, and have them do double duty. Part of the time when we're underway, they'd be up here and give us access to good sight lines and all of the controls for conning the boat. And then when we're at anchor, we can just take the chairs and click them in over in this area, and they become our lounge chairs. And then the dining or eating area will pick up where this, if you maybe recall, was the countertop running thwartships this way for the kitchen. And then on the other side of that cabinetry would be one piece of the L-shaped seat, another one all across the windows back there, and it stops just short of this set of stairs that take you down inside. And I guess maybe we'll jump up and show you the forward area here, but this is the bow of the boat, and we'll give you a bit better shot of that by walking up there here just now. All right, we'll just try to keep you oriented here. I've just stepped up onto the side decks here above the super salon or along the side of it. A pretty good width so that it'll be nice and safe. Of course, there's going to be lifelines and stuff all along here and stanchions and stuff when you're normally walking. But you've got a good width. You don't have to turn sideways as you do on some boats to get fore and aft along the side decks here. And then, as I was saying, this is the main helm station up here, lounge area there. There's our basement access, and I think you're starting to get the orientation. And I'll put together a little floor plan for you in the blog, and you can have a look at that as well. But I thought we'd come up here and show you the bow area and just how that's going to work. The whole forward foredeck is a pretty good size as well. We won't put anything on it. We don't like having things on our foredeck. There'll be several hatches in here, bringing in lots of light and fresh air into the master cabin, but otherwise, and some door aid vents and so on to bring some more air in. This will all be, again, part of the 360-degree glass. We've got negatively raked windows, so the bottoms are inset from the tops, so that we've got a negative rake to the windows. Keeps them much clearer, keeps reflections off, reduces the amount of rain that gets on them, and just is an otherwise very nice setup to have. So you'll start to see that as the framing starts to take place up here. And then this area is our whole anchor being set up here. You can see how it's now recessed. We've shown you before, but it probably makes much more sense when you see the real thing here. And you can see how the slope is a pretty healthy one down there, so that all the water that's on here, particularly for making sure as we're bringing the anchor aboard, you tend to sometimes get quite a bit of crud, mud and seaweed and this and that. You try to do your best to get most of it off before, but you never fully succeed. So this just makes it very easy to either just have it self-draining or to get the hose out and quickly flush this thing off. And you'll get a better sense here now of how that anchor setup works. So you can see here how the shank of the anchor is going to come along this channel here. This plate here is thicker than the rest of the deck, so that this is what's going to take the windlass. It'll probably sit right about in the middle of this rectangular area here. So that's, if I recall correctly, I think about 20 millimeters thick, this plate. So it's well reinforced underneath as well, but very thick. So we've got a nice good solid base for the windlass, which is what pulls the anchor up and down. And then the end of the shank of the anchor will come just a little bit outside of here and rest nicely in that spot. This is the Samson post right now. Very nice thick-walled aluminum tube. We'll have a cap on top of here, and then one or two rods coming out either side of here. This is what we use for securing the snubber line, or if you had a tow or something. You can now see the other side of the nose cone. You can kind of see, I think, if I tilt you up here, there you go. You can see all the way through. So this is where we'll run the snubber line out to the anchor chain and just keep us all nice and quiet and well secured. And then this is what the nose looks like up here. And if we just turn around and give you a sense, looking back at the side of the boat, you can start to see what's going on. This is our nice big long hatch for accessing the forepeak area underneath here. I won't bother taking you down in there right now today. We'll take another time and have a look in there. It's a very good size though, and I'll give you a little bit of a view. There we go. And this will be for storage, fenders, lines, that kind of stuff. But again, a fair amount of system stuff so we can keep it out of the rest of the boat. The black and gray water tanks for the head in the master cabin will probably be in there. Various pumps and things like that. It'll be nice and dry. This is the only access to it is through the hatch, and that'll be all very well sealed up. The hatch actually comes up just a little bit higher than the deck itself. We'll show you some drawings of that also, and you'll see it getting welded into place here. So it'll stay nice and dry, but it'll be a nice, easy to keep vented area. And now you can get a bit better sense of what that foredeck looks like looking aft, and you can start to get a feel for the size of the super salon and a little bit of the aft deck back from there. All right, so I think that's pretty much the deck tour for you, and we'll see what else we can show you a little later on. So here's a shot for you of the entire aft deck, so you can just get a bit better sense of its size and scale compared to the rest of the boat. Again, this very large hatch here will have a single big door in it. We probably won't open it that often. It's there, as I said, for being able to get the engine in and out, along with the CPP setup still bolted to it, so lots of access. Frankly, we'll probably never need to do that given the Gardner engine's lifespan and so on, but just in case, we did not want to have a setup where we built the engine and stuff in the inside the boat before the decks went on and stuff, and you wouldn't be able to be sure you could take things out. So it just means that we're guaranteed that we've got access to take big heavy things in and out if we should ever need so. Otherwise, if I'm working down there, we can flip this door open and have some nice ventilation and lots of light coming into the engine room. And back here you can see this entranceway that goes into the workshop. Again, that will have a big sort of a header called a plinth, I think is the correct name. But anyways, like a tunnel that'll come up over top of here, so that it'll be a nice flat area. Be fun for sitting on and watching the view from the back here. A little bit of a padded seat on it perhaps. So it'll be a nice, pretty good size there. We'll probably put one or two hatches in the sides of it just to help bring more light down into that workshop there. But its main purpose, as I said, is just make sure you don't have to duck as you're walking from the swim step down there into the engine room over here. All right. So now I'm standing at the very aft end of the deck, the aft deck, and you can start to see what the scope and size of the boat is looking forward. All right. So that's the tour as she exists right now, as the superstructure goes on over here for the main house, and then the sky bridge above that. You'll start to see that shaping up in the next couple of weeks here. But it won't take them too long. The superstructure pieces have all been welded up, so they'll go in pretty quickly, and we'll keep track of that as the proceeds and the process keeps on going here. All right, thanks for joining us. I'll see if I can give you a sense of the master cabin. Once again, we're standing inside the super salon right now. I'd be standing in the galley where I am currently sitting here right now. And so this area, as I said, over here will be our dining area, a nice L-shaped seat here and all down these windows. And then this will be a staircase down here. This will all get welded in with aluminum plate, making it all completely watertight. There'll be some rails, of course, handrails for making it nice and safe to get in and out of. But you can just start to see, I'll climb down in there and just just a second and show you around a little bit. But it's a very, very nice size master cabin for Christine and I. And this, again, is more tanks up in here, as you can see, with all of the baffles inside of there. Our queen-size bed will sit right against here in the middle, pretty much, so you've got access to all three sides of it. As you walk forward, it'll stay clear all the way up to the very front. In the very front in the middle will be a sink, and then on this side is the head and then the shower. On this side will be a cabinet for washer and dryer, and then along this side is all pretty much wardrobes, cabinets, that kind of things for clothes and linens, that sort of thing, and some bookshelves and this type of thing on the hull sides over here. All right, I've jumped down inside of what will be the stairwell coming into the master cabin, but I thought I'd just give you a quick tour down at floor level inside the master cabin to give you a bit of an idea. This would be what our headboard is essentially for the bed. As I said, the queen-size bed will sit in the middle here, walk around space on the far side, bookshelves, that kind of thing. As you know, the hull flares out a bunch here as we get near the forward end of the boat, so it'll be wider as it goes up, which has got a nice feel to it. But you can get a sense for the space down here. It's a very, very good size room, and we'll have some hatches coming in, bringing light into the room as well. But frankly, we only use this at night. It's just for sleeping. It's not got a workspace in it intentionally. We keep those in either Christine's office or up above in the salon or up in the flybridge, for that matter. More tanks down here. So the whole floor of the boat, interior-wise, all sits on top of these tanks when they get their tank tops welded in. And we'll have all heated floors. So on top of the tank tops will be probably about an inch thick of hard foam, and we'll have grooves milled into that for the PEX tubing for the hot water for heated floors when we go up to higher latitudes or get into colder weather in climates like Canada and New Zealand in the summer. In the wintertime, you get pretty cool, or up in Norway, Sweden, those sorts of spots. But this will give you a feel for our main cabin down here. And this will ultimately, of course, get framed in. This is the area that's going to be the main helm station, but this will get, you won't see any of this once it gets framed in from inside here. And then just while we've got the chance, one more peek for you at the so-called basement area. Now we're looking at it from the other side. You saw it from up over when I was in that entranceway there. Again, that's the stairwell for the stairs going down into the Christine's office and the guest cabin. So this whole basement area, you can get a bit better sense for the height here. You can't stand up in it, but if you wanted to keep the house down as low as possible, but you can certainly move around.